I don't hate anything. I don't hate these things because I know that in a different time or a different place or a different space, I would most likely like them. I don't hate the rich. I hate that I'm poor. I hate that I can't financially take care of myself. That I have all these dreams and things that I feel that I'm capable of doing, and I don't have the capital to test my theories, to try to make them work the way that I think that they can. I don't hate the jobs. I hate being overworked. I hate the idea of uh, doing a task that I don't necessarily know if I agree with the end game. I dislike the idea that I will never be capable of understanding, or just someone already had predetermined and decided that it wasn't worth letting me know because it was already described as I would fail. And even if I would fail, I feel like I'm entitled to at least try, even if it's inevitable. So I am sure that I'm absolutely sure that not only for the sake of you or the sake of me, but for the sake of you. So I'm like, I know that your math is correct because if I succeed, then it says that maybe you were wrong. I don't hate anything. Hate is just a different form of love. I think misplaced with anger and pain and rage. It's I think that those that stem from hate would change their tune as long as they could become what they say that they hate the most. I think that's really what it is. That I don't hate the words that conservative podcasters say. I I understand it, but I say that I know I'm knowledgeable of why they say it. They say it because it gives them profit. It puts them in a position of power, makes them feel important. That they're not going to they not that they can't help themselves, but they um, you would too for a check. You would too if you wanted to feel important in this minuscule life. And we have to know we got to hold them accountable and say, yeah, I know that why you're saying this. Now that I have more information and more context clues, and I understand that you're saying this to get a reaction, to rile people up. Why do you feel the need? Why do you think you're not important? Like, I look at the school shooters. I think that they're entitled little kids because that's what they are. It shows a deeper meaning, a different purpose behind it, where you know for their entire life they're told you're going to be something, you're going to be something, you're going to be something, and you're waiting for something to match that feeling, but it never happens because no one actually invested in you. They just gave you cheers and praise, but not acknowledgement. Acknowledgement does not always mean praise. It means like I'm feel like I'm seen. Like whatever I have to offer is seen. When I look at them, I don't get upset like, oh, how did these monsters, these domestic white terrorists, these others. I just see individuals that had the right concoction, the mathematical formula. They have access to the weaponry. They have unvetted, uncensored, unregulated access to the internet for people to say anything that will literally, out of a whim, tell someone the most uh, gut wrenching and mentally torturous things. Just knowing that it will get someone, hook someone. to do something awful. And they'll sit there and laugh as those people sit there and feel like they're God, playing with each other as toys, not as a person. That they don't even acknowledge themselves as a person. To ignore that feeling, that ever sinking feeling. That they look at themselves so highly because they can't think anything past it. It's stifling. They're stagnant. They're stuck in a jail cell that is their own head. I'm not denying consequence. I think that people say a bleeding heart is a weak hand, but no. I understand the consequence. I understand that there's no praise for taking someone down. There's just sadness. I watch a lot of police media, a lot of crime shows, a lot of television that portrays people, and every action is important. Every picture taken, every vocal stem, meticulously placed. So you would see a picture of a police officer in a black room, in a black background with light shining that looks like they're so big and powerful. Or then when they want to be perceived as nice, lights and flowers and kids, and all of it can change. And I think that's terrifying. How both can be true at the same time. And I realize that when I'm watching those police shows and they catch the bad guy, that those people are the most incompetent of the criminals, that the ones that are very competent don't get caught, so they cannot close the case, and then it goes away. That individuals do kill people for various reasons. The ones shown are always the most horrendous, but sometimes you hear a case, every once in a while, you hear a case where it's understandable. Heck, sometimes even agreeable. And you wonder, did they let that case slip through? Was this an accident? Made me realize how much I don't know, how much I don't see. I can't hate. I can't hate until I know all there is to know. I can't hate. It sounds mad that I love everyone until I know everything that there is to know. For if I truly hate a being, then I would have to know everything about that being and say that there's nothing that I could love of this being. For hate is not a simple action of just hating an aspect because maybe I don't like the aspect. But if someone had hair similar to mine, I can't say, oh, I hate your hair, and then I have the same hairstyle. Do I hate my hairstyle? Is that where it's coming? Am I projecting? I can't build something from nothing. Where is this hate coming from? There will be aspects of them that I remind myself are human. That I would look at myself and say, there would be a time where I have done it. Or if I do it in the future, there will be a time that I will do it. I don't want to trap myself in a box of hypocrisy. That I cannot say that I hate. I can't even hate Lucifer. Even though those in the religious sect might say and coin themselves as some heavy pious elitist for saying, how dare you, I hate you, Lucifer, all the evil and wickedness. But is Lucifer not the creation of God? Who am I to hate a being? Is Lucifer not an elder still? Can we really blame Lucifer for every action? Was it not God that gave us free will? I think that it's cowardice To I think that that's where it really goes. That individuals want to take control when it's convenient and let it go when it's not. Hide it under the couch. I think it comes from a good stance. Like if you break something and you plan on fixing it with whatever materials, tape or glue, and then you say that if you can fix it, everything will go fine and go back to normal and you won't get punished. But I think that it ignores something. When I was, yes, I might have gotten punished for breaking it, but maybe it could have been repaired, but you had lost pieces. Or, or maybe I could have had it sent off, but now that I have to clean it up with the glue and maybe it made more damage. Or maybe you broke it more, not realizing it. Or maybe I wouldn't have been upset with you breaking it at all. But now that you had lied to me and made me wonder and worry and wait, or maybe it cut your hands and now I felt that I was a bad parent, that I didn't pay enough attention to you, or that I had raised a liar, that I did not show myself as true or genuine enough. Every action has a consequence, and a million that. That I think that really it goes with self-esteem, that those that hate others cannot love themselves. Then what does it mean to love someone? It means to hold them to consequence. It means to say things that may upset them, to be as authentic and to let them go if they choose to leave. I think that if you're just being your authentic self and saying and speaking of the hurt that you are experiencing, that's something that should be allowed. I don't hate, I hate or maybe I say that I dislike white supremacy, but I understand why it can exist. I understand why people get like this. You tell someone for years that they're important, that they're great, that they're grand for years, and they don't get the feeling. They feel like they're doing something wrong. They're not living up to the expectation. All right, I can understand that. I'd say that there's no justification for their action. I don't agree with their action, their recourse with this, because there's a time where you have to go in a crossroads and make a decision. Will you confine yourself to continue to go down a path that you know is insanity, trying to do again what you know wouldn't work? Going deeper and deeper into madness until you make yourself mentally ill? Give your will to something else, to anyone and no one in particular, or will you go the heavy route that will lead you, walk through hell, the shadow of the valley of death? Will you walk it? Because you know at the end of this, even though you cannot see it, you do not know what it looks like. You only believe in your heart its existence, the hope, the very hope that it exists after this long route. Would you walk it with just that in your heart? And I will be honest, most men will not survive. Most people would not survive that for meticulous amount of reasons. And it's not saying that no one is, everyone is not capable of doing it. It is that, are you willing to acknowledge? Are you willing to become that person? Can you shed off everything? And I think that honest men can say to themselves, I don't think I'm strong enough yet. I think I need to train a little longer. I think that it's such a low percentage because not everyone is ready at the same time. Then no, not everyone can walk it at the same time. So of course it's going to be a low percentage. Especially when you try to make it a numbers game and just flood it. Well, then it becomes too packed. Or one at a time, and then everyone is waiting on you to give the information to tell us tips and tricks. I think that there's multiple reasons why there's such a low percentage. And we have to ask ourselves, what does it mean to evolve and grow and change and improve? That I look that ethics is the way. Those wanting to be pristine in celebrity, in wealth, even in education. But it doesn't mean a thing. For when you hit them without ethics, it is hard to include them later on. You said it was impossible to do at that moment, so you evolved, but now you necessarily need to go back. And to go back, you would have to drop everything. You say that this was something that needed to be the baseline in the beginning. There's no denying that. It's a simple rule that you cannot build a house without the foundation first. But then you say, well, I needed some sort of shelter, so I built this house without the foundation. I added rooms, I've added stairs, and it's been stable ever since. But all it takes is one day that you're aware that the cracks are there and the foundation's not stable. And I think that you're just trying to ride it out until it fully collapses. And I think that it shows. It shows truly what matters at the end, what you care about deeply. But those that wait until the collapse of a country are not. It's revolutionary or it's savior. It's not something to sit there with grandiose love and appreciation. It can be very much a sadness, for it's the very founders of its collapse, or the predecessors that inherited this collapse. If they do not warn those that are in this house, or they keep their victims chained in the basement of this house, knowing it's going to collapse. The individuals cannot warn themselves. They cannot escape, even if they foretold that this would happen. So it's not them that rebuilds the next city. It is those that knew of its imminent destruction and blessed themselves and educated themselves and took with it the knowledge and the history, and then said, well, this time I might build a foundation. But the foundations will always be of cracks, because there will always be a longing for that broken house. And that is not something that inspires me or fills me with hate, but understanding. A broken house, the only home that you ever knew. How can you remodel anything in a more efficient, in a higher or more evolved form? You will always build and reminisce and talk of the broken house. Because once you're aware, then you have to pay the debts. You have to bury the dead. You have to acknowledge what has been done and what role you had to play. And for lifetimes, people will, they might at first hate you and despise you. They'll speak of white supremacy for years, but it will slowly fade as the anger subsides. As that's not the worst that will happen. Sure, it will cause pain, it will cause death, but really, I think the pain that will be avoided is that everyone will still write and speak about the horrors and atrocities that white people have done, have caused. It will be watching yourself, watching images, watching your kids, knowing your kids are going to be cast in this light, and you can't really do anything about it. I've heard white people say that fear, and I understand it, but at first I thought maybe I could avoid that. Maybe we shouldn't, and trying to cut the pain, but it was trying to remove them from that fate. And I recognize with myself that maybe that isn't the answer. Removing them from that fate. They don't know. They can't know. Even the most well-meaning can't know unless they go through that pain, like taking that vaccine, taking that medicine. I implore not only white people but black people, take the medicine. Take the medicine that would free your soul. Yes, it might take your life. But if you are strong as you say that you are, then you'll survive this. The medicine that will be passed down to your kids, yes, that will take many of their lives. But what is a life that you're condemning them without ethics, without that foundation? A house that will always inevitably collapse, that you will waste more materials building it bigger and bigger for nothing. For when it collapses, all it will do is be a scar and a memory on every single individual. It won't be hate. They will eventually ask themselves, what was this all worth? To protect someone that I said that their beauty? Not only then, I realized that their beauty, I can't even love or appreciate it the way I once did. There was a time where I was nostalgic for the past, but everywhere I turned, it was just white faces, white makeup, trends that were always stolen. But before then, there was a beauty. Makeup that really contoured with their face. Laughter or appreciation, thoughts and ideals. But always tainted was the racism, was the language, was the slurs. Like a beautiful woman that pulls out a cigarette and smokes, romanticized in our minds, but in reality would become disgusting. Because the breath, the teeth, the conversation, putrid. That no woman's beauty can overcome the ugliness of racism. No man's physique can override the barbarism that they commit. And my life has been attested to that. So far do they try. They try. No academic degree can overpass the ugliness that I smell, that I sniff out. Every handshake that I've ever done, a thought had crossed my mind. That man that is shaking my hand had also held his hand to hold his willy. He has peed, and through the urine, he has held his own genitalia. At first it was funny, but then I realized the same could be talked about with racism. As this voice crossed, as the thought ran in his mind, and with him he had expelled energy to speak hatred into this world. Not that he was given hatred and regurgitated it, spoke it out loud, repeated it. Not in that simple way, but had created it on his own, had become a factory dedicated to speaking hatred. Even, let's say, even the most efficient of a factory that runs itself on clean energy, if it says I have a backup, Or I also have a factory that uses coal a little bit to produce cigarettes, but not as big as the energy, the clean energy, the fully electric. You realize that why then not just keep it fully electric? Why not just keep it clean? And it's a clinging on to this old and barbarous way to cling, to hold something that is, um, that I won't say wicked, holding on to that old house. And I sit there and I don't know how to compel someone. I don't know how to tell someone, hey, I don't think that you should be doing this. I don't pity them. I don't sit there and look at the gallows and laugh or cheer. I don't clap. Um, I sit there feeling as if I am the Grim Reaper, and I say that, die. This isn't life. You're a zombie walking. As I look at white supremacy as white skin, I see it as a pale essence of a ghost walking around, not quite alive, not quite dead. That it's multiple in numbers, that it infests. But no one really knows what whiteness is. There's culture, is it? But no, is it the culture? If I said blonde hair, blue eyes, and I say, did they come to your land too and devastate your people? That's the zombie apocalypse. They can turn green and red and pink. It's like I turn it into a joke, but it really isn't. What am I supposed to do? I like walking around and knowing that someone is instantly, by viewing me, going to grow into aggression. That if they know my name, if they know my face, that they're instantly going to come to conclusions, even lust. That those see a black man, like they see a black woman, they instantly become lustful because there's something different, something unique, something that they cannot attain, something. It becomes boring. Why do you love this person? Uniqueness, value. I don't have it, so I must obtain it. Over and over and over and over again. It perpetuates everything into media, into life as itself. I had watched an anime that I loved and I adored, and the same white supremacist mind, the same reason why it's popular and why it had crossed my eyes was the same reason that I had grown to resent it. The characters, to produce, to stand out, to be something different, had broken every taboo. There was a character that I had loved, but when I had grown up and realized, as I loved her when I was a child because she looked like a child, because she was a child and just had a more adult voice. And then as I grown and I realized she has a child's body. She is a child, just with a grown woman playing as the character. This was a grown woman in a child's body. I cannot love or be affectionate towards it. And that is what people aspire for. In an immortal body in a child. For if I lived to be 80 and looked as if I was 20, every relationship that I would have, everything that I would have had would be tainted in sin. That it would be disgusting. I would know that they would confuse me for a 20-year-old. They would confuse me for something that I wasn't, if they weren't aware, if they could not pay attention. And some would know something was wrong, but they would not have the skills yet to devise it. And that is why it disturbs me. That you can see how removing someone from education, from proper education, to have such to be so behind, to say you had intentionally withheld them, put them behind, and now you're attracted to them. That I find that when white women are attracted to me, I feel disgusted because I go, how far am I behind? If you're attracted to me, if anyone is attracted to me, I feel disillusioned, disgusted in my own psyche. I wonder why someone loves me. Why? How? I've been stifled so long, and it only shows to my intelligence. It shows how far I've gotten. If someone says that no, I'm on par, I'm stable, I'm just on your level, then I go, if I'm on your level, then what I could have been may have surpassed humanity in its point right now. And yet I will never know this, and it will plague me until the end of my life. End of this life, at least. If you love me and you think that I stand atop, if I stand eye to eye, or maybe even a little bit lower, a little bit higher, and I feel stifled. If you feel whole and in your full potential, then why are you given so much more? Why did it take 3 times as much for us to both stand here, and I was given 3 times as less? That wouldn't make me want to stand atop with you. It'd make me want to give the rest I have to others, because it seems like I am the more efficient plant. That if I am enough, then I would take what little excess I have and make something 3 times as bigger. Cut what I have in half. I could survive on half and watch someone sprout bigger and greater than me. I say that overconsumption does not make you good. It makes you a burden, a tax. I could look at myself, and I get concerned and disgusted and often unimpressed, because I'm unimpressed by what impresses others. If I'm impressive, then I believe that the world is a bit confused, I guess. If I'm not to be impressive, then I ask what it is. I go, who is actually impressive? Is it really that impressive to that it seems like every year there's a tech bro genius, there's someone who has written 1,000 books, there's someone who's jumped into a rocket ship and gone into space. But I ask, then why can you not terraform another planet? Why can you not fix the pollution? Why can you not be honest and upfront? I think that's the truth, the honesty. Why is everything so manipulative, so manipulated, that I can find something that is opposite yet true? And for hours I would have to hear someone berate and chastise and speak about how hateful and hurtful and how stupid someone else is, how they don't understand, instead of ever acknowledging. Can you not speak a truth without putting someone down, by belittling someone? Why can you not say words of truth without venom? How powerful are you? And then you come to find out that they're lies, and once you admit one lie, then that's it. But if you never admit a lie, it doesn't mean it's a victory. By being defeated but never admitting defeat, that doesn't add to your repertoire. It's if I never admit defeat, then I've never lost. That those are not victories. At the end of the day, it is not about the simply never taking a loss, but how many victories had you gained? How many of those losses had been necessary for those victories? What lessons did you learn? I don't worry about great generals that have never, quote unquote, on paper lost a battle because I don't trust anything that I have not seen with my own eyes. That I say what counts as a success and what counts as a loss. That I think that the best generals can accept a loss, acknowledging that even the best of us can fail sometimes. How does a great man define a loss is a really telling tale. And what does a great man define as a victory? That people get too caught up in simple verbiage, but verbiage always changes because there's always a hint of imperfection with them. So it's always important to hear the words of the person and the individual to know what they mean by something, their own personal definition. Weak men follow and only appear to what they perceive as strong men. But even if those strong men were there, they might not agree with them. They only cling to ideals and individuals who are alive, or who are like-minded or no longer alive to contest. That is their failure. For I do not wish to just be inspired by men of past. I inspire myself to speak with individuals of this time, of like-minded, of inspiration, of quality, and to gain, to work together, to broaden fields, to erect houses, to re-engage with culture and nature, to see where we go from here. But I always aspire to see men of every different place or genre, in different fields, and see how they interconnect. But those that sit there and enjoy the spoils of discrimination, of segregation, only spoil it for themselves and the rest. They spoil it for everyone. That there is no benefit, just loss, and a delusion of gain. That I am fully aware that I am not the strongest and most inspirational man, but I can say some wise words from time to time. That maybe not now, but eventually, someone might hear my words to be as true. That if I am not strong enough to converse with those men now, what do I have to do? And what can I do to be a strong man? That I am not trying to meet with any man in particular, but I am trying to grow strong enough to stand with them if they stay there. That strong men will always be there. That there will always be someone at that platform, and who it is may not be known to me. That I might have been tricked or deluded to believe that that person was at the statue, but someone else might be there. And if no one atop this place, then I alone will stand there, and others might be behind me. If I cannot reach any further, then it is my duty to wait and speak to these men. And then I might tell them, Well, it seems that you are younger and more fit, and there might be something more top, higher than even I stand. Go further and forth, that I do not mind aging or dying. I mind never really living at all. That I have been hindered for too long, in pain for far too long. My dream is not to to die, but to live. And to live, someone he needs to go further and farther than I. And let them figure out time travel. Let them figure out medicines that will cure every ailment. Let them figure out everything that is ever to be known. Because guess what? If they know everything that is ever to be known, then they know me. They know they know my life. They know why I have done what I have done. They know things that I don't even know of myself. And if they know me, then they know how to contact me, how to resurrect me, and tell me the things that I don't know of myself. Tell me things that I would love to hear. Tell me a joke that would make me laugh every second, or tell me something that would make me weep. A song that would make me cry every single time, or a food that would make me well, I shouldn't say that, but something. That is why I am so inspired to do things in my life. For I know that someone at some time will come back for me. If they do not exist now, then they exist in the future. The time is relative. If they have to put my consciousness or my body or my cells or my DNA, that if it's all math, if it's all science, if it all is just simply DNA, then reconstruct every fine, every gram, every bit, and recreate me then. That is what science should aspire for. That if one thinks, how am I, who am I, then become the greatest philosopher, and to know that someone is who they say they are. They have been recreated, reborn. If you, the greatest psychologist, recreate the mind, be sure that ask themselves, is that how you want to be? How someone ought to be? How they could be? And to give every choice if they would like to return to what they once were, or to be something different, but not to define it as better. To give an individual every dream and aspiration and every choice, and let them settle. And to see that their beauty, their beauty was always internal, that see how they longed for something that they said that they despised, but it was only because they just never felt the chance to fully utilize their full potential. That is what Russell, the philosopher, the black philosopher, the I say the greatest loser. I think of myself as possibly the worst philosopher, and I think of that as a great and grand gesture. I love the title, because if being a philosopher means that I have to go into depression and absolute destruction in my life, then say I'm the worst at it, that I still did philosophy and didn't do that. A philosopher that is good enough to continue to love his wife and his wife love him. Or he did his best. I want to be the philosopher that can overcome with will, whether it be physically or mentally or emotionally, that my will was so strong that no matter how much time it took, got exactly what I wished for every single time. That is what makes me, me, and what I want. But with that being said, I am done.